Okay, so are there any modifications to the agenda? Okay. For the review and approval of the March 2003 monthly meeting minutes, I thought I had already sent them in, so I didn't worry about looking at them again. So is everyone okay with?
I move to approve the agenda. Which,
Okay. So, a second, I guess.
who's taking notes?
Me, only.
Just checking.
Ellen, okay, you guys wake up, we need a second. All right, well, you left first, so you get the second. And then all in favor. Okay. Okay. Next, the wood smoke air quality subcommittee. Anything on that?
I have nothing further to report. I'm sorry.
I will say that that BARD is working on putting out a press release with some information. Let me pull this.
There it is. Hi.
Hey. Which I need to update. They sent me some information to update the city's website, and they're updating their website. Once that happens, then they're gonna put out a press release. But it's been 3 years of data collection.
Oh, my God.
Yep. And so they have like 3 years worth of data and lots of, information, 4 pages worth. I'm not sure in a press release who's gonna, I don't know, it's kind of long, it's very scientific press release, but, so.
Any idea what their conclusions are?
Let's see. I would say, let's see, I can share my screen. This might be the most valuable thing. So this is daily averages. And so you can see, if I can describe this here.
Oh, wow.
From 2020 to 2023, the daily averages of particulate matter 2.5. You can see the EPA threshold is here and the WHO threshold is here.
Okay.
The red dots mean there's a potential inversion, which is basically when the particulates get trapped. Non-atmospheric inversion, I don't know what that means. They pointed out the 5th of July each year, which is the day after fireworks.
Oh, my goodness.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then they did a wildfire haze period. These are the wildfires in California. They marked it to see if it had an impact here.
Right.
And this is showing that it did not.
So why was that huge spike in 2020? Do we know?
Let's see.
I mean, that's really a big spike.
After 3 years of monitoring, we're now able to see air quality trends associated with our daily activities and decisions as citizens. First, air pollution is variable and seems to have a seasonal context. Higher levels of pollution during colder months associated with heating, fuel, burning, oil, wood, and gas, and lower levels in spring and summer, with the exception of fireworks that are set off to celebrate 4th of July. The difference between 2020, when COVID shut things down, and the following 2 years is pretty obvious. Fewer cars on the road and less industry in general really decreased particles in the air. And it goes on to talk about inversions.
So that 2020 level is probably going to return.
And the problem is we don't have anything before that. So
Right.
it kind of started
Sure.
at a really tough, difficult time, but.
Yeah, what a strange time to start. But that's interesting that it's a lot to do with industry and cars rather than wood smoke. Feel,
So, you know, if you
So
look,
I'm sorry, the green is the green, the year, right? I mean,
yeah,
the
green is
colors of the year.
2020.
the colors of the year,
Right.
yeah, so like this is an annual means as a whole over the course of the year. This is what 2020, 21, and 22.
That really shows the COVID thing, even though 2021 was.
What else would be valuable to show here?
So did they say anything about that spike in early 2020?
Well, they were saying that it reduced all of a sudden because of COVID and everything
Yeah.
shutting down.
Oh, so I see.
So
So
that's
it could have
probably the
been higher,
baseline.
you're saying.
It could have been higher in the past, right?
Right. Look at that right around the turn of the year though, oh no, that's the 4th of July, right? It's really hard.
So,
The yellow is the 4th of July.
no, the 4th of July is, the
Oh.
5th of July is this one and this one.
Right.
This is crazy.
Oh, the yellow is the forest fires.
The yellow is the wildfire haze period.
So we're in that dip in 2020, what month is that? That's like,
So this is, if this is, let's say, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September,
yeah,
October.
so it's summer.
And then people start using heat,
And
wood.
there wasn't that much driving and,
It's really interesting. That volatility is quite.
Yeah. So they gave me information to post on the website. They're gonna put this out. If you want, I can have them come and present on it. I don't know if there's more information that they have or know that we're not talking about right now, but, you know, longitudinally, we're now seeing, at least on a regular
basis.
basis, it's actually pretty normal. I mean, not pretty normal, but pretty
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
and they're gonna keep doing it?
They're gonna keep doing it, yes.
Yeah.
And they're just gathering it from the Andy Murray Center. So
This is just on the roof of the Annie Murphy Center.
that's a good spot though.
So that's the other thing, this is not their stream level, this is
Right.
rooftop level.
So I don't think they need to come. Do you want them to come? Because they could come by Zoom.
Well, I can, once I put the link up and they put out the press release, I can share it, and if maybe people have questions or want more information, then I can invite them to come.
Right, yeah, it would be nice to show the public safety. They met last night, which means, you know, that's the 4th. Yeah. I'm not sure I can go that day, but anyway. Oh, in June. Yes, I can go in June. Okay. Yes, I remember. Okay, so Kevin, I got the very beginning.
Okay.
And basically, the whole press release is what that's all
Yeah,
we
this is
talked
the
about.
Cotton press release.
Yes.
On April 20, I could read,
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was really all we talked about. So, by the way, I wanted to modify the agenda actually to
Okay.
talk about the food waste because Julie did a really nice presentation today, and I thought, since we're the CAC, we should know, because people might ask us, you know, and so we should be aware, so we can put that in and, I guess, new business. Okay, so Kingston Forward citywide zonings, there's a hearing, right, May 31st? Is it
There's been a lot of activity on this the last 2 days. The report came out late yesterday afternoon, and Tanya Garment contacted me, and I just thought she wanted to talk about it. Turns out I called into a conference call with Ted and Sebastian. And her.
So Sebastian,
Sebastian was our former person.
Yes, I remember.
Right.
But Brianna didn't.
Right.
he used to be on the CAC.
And-
Sort of ghosted.
That got followed up with a meeting this morning a Zoom call organized by Rebecca Martin that included Michelle Hirsch, our liaison, and Andrea Schaub, the president of the Common Council, to discuss the changes that were made in the zoning, how they were made. And I think the general sense of everybody on both the two calls was that it's moving. It sort of didn't move at all for a while, and suddenly it went into fast forward. Like there was a resolution for a vote at for the Board of Rules next week. So where I left it this morning with Andrea and that group was that Andrea is going to try to get that resolution pulled and have more discussion as to where we're going with this.
So, but it was set as a special meeting, right? So she wants to
Right.
establish the special meeting.
She established it, now she can keep the special meeting, that's fine. It's just that there was a two resolutions, one to adopt the final generic environmental impact statement. And the second was to adopt the form-based code and move it over to the full council for a vote in June.
But was there a reason why a special meeting was called as opposed to doing it on the normal timeline?
There was a rush to get this thing done, apparently.
Where was the pressure coming from?
I don't know. Andrea wasn't forthcoming with that. She's had a lot of discussions with Bartek, and I think she wants to meet with the mayor. Maybe, I don't know if that's going to be before the meeting, after the meeting. I threw out a bunch of dates, and I don't, you know.
But this is nothing to do with kind of like something like, oh God, you know, this has been sitting around, now we finally looked at it and we're pushing.
No, they made a bunch of changes.
So who's they? The council?
That's a good question. It wouldn't seem that it was the council. It would seem that it may have been Bartek, it may have been Dover Cole with Bartek, with some input from certain council members and the planning board. There's a lot of authority, it appears to be, being shifted over to the planning board in terms of waivers on major site plans, for reviews of major site plans, and also they were already given the authority on minor site plans. I think that was from a previous draft. So you'd have to go into it and look at the major site plans and see all the red line stuff. There's a lot of red text, and that'll show you the changes. And unfortunately, they did not cross out the old language, so now you've got to have two of them open. And I just couldn't get this organized today to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody on that call, including Andrea, could get it organized today. So hence, I think there's a push to delay it a little bit.
And it's just delaying because people don't understand the changes?
Well, I'm not sure they're comfortable. Some of them are not comfortable with changes. Handing discretionary powers on major site plan reviews to the planning board. Yeah, that sounds like, I don't want to say it sounds like secret avoidance, but I thought I heard somebody say that.
How does this happen now?
I didn't say that, but
How
I
does it
thought I
happen
heard
now?
somebody say that.
How does it happen now?
Well, the planning board does a secret determination, whether it's type 1 unlisted or type 2.
Yeah, no.
There was
I
also a
didn't realize
discussion.
That would be,
Further discussion on a list for type 2. That was supposed to be included in the form-based code, and it doesn't appear to be there. So,
what do you mean?
well, actions that you can pretty much do. I think that's one of the purposes of the form-based code is so you have actions that are fairly routine, that are minor,
Right,
and the planning board can just move forward, or they can not even move forward. The staff can move forward.
right.
Right, so, but you need a type 2 list to, or you should have one, I don't know if you do. You should have a type 2 action list. Like, let's say somebody's
So it
doing
should
a lot
be in the
line
form
revision
base.
with your next door neighbor, that could be a type of a type 2 action. Whereas if it were something on the scale of an Irish cultural center or a Kingstonian with a lot line adjustment, that might be part of a type 1 review.
I see.
So the more discretionary decisions that they make, the less likely the public review process will occur.
Oh, wow, that would be, yeah.
Yeah, there's also other things that as far as I could tell, I did a quick look at the open space portion. I don't think they touched that very much. Same went with some of the landmarks commission's comments. I think they took some of that. I have to check to see if they took all of it, but basically the gist of that was to get a Secretary of the Interior standards into the landmarks review, which it currently doesn't have that, which is kind of like, yikes. You know, somebody didn't know to do that back in the day, I guess. So that's something that should be cleaned up, and I think everybody's in agreement on that one. And then I saw that see this in the form-based code, I did not have time to go through the waterfront review section, waterfront section rather. But I noticed in the generic impact statement that Rob Iannucci had made comments on the waterfront. So that bears more, a more thorough reading. So there's two documents. There's the impact statements, the environmental impact statement, and there's the form-based code.
Mhm. So is there any more chance to actually ask for any changes in either, or in the form of?
Well, there's talk
GEIS?
of maybe even another public meeting.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the council's gonna do, and I don't know where the votes lie on the council. That's.
So the special meeting was not a hearing, it was just a special meeting.
Right, I don't believe there would have
And
been
they
any
would've-
permitted public input or speaking.
Oh, I see, and then they would have voted to
Right,
move it towards the full council.
yeah. And then
That's
you're,
still being held next Wednesday,
Yeah,
special meeting.
so we can still go to it, but it's not a hearing.
yeah, that should be immediately after the climate meeting.
Yes.
Right, I know, and then it's also the CAC. I didn't ask, EMC. I didn't ask Ted if he could go with that.
Ted's done for the moment.
I know, he's not,
Yeah, he's getting married, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
so he's out next, the 31st, right?
Yeah, as of
Yeah.
today, I think, well, yesterday was his last meeting. He was supposed to send us comments that he was sending to Barbara Hill, and I don't think I got them. So he's gone for the moment. And that might be yesterday's story, sending comments to Barbara Hill. Right, since Andrea's taken over the discussion with Michelle.
I see, okay. So it was Barbara Hill?
She wasn't on the meeting,
Oh.
but she's Ted's older person.
Oh, I see.
So he thought that was the appropriate way to do it, rather
Oh,
than
right.
address it to Michelle, who is in a different ward, or send it to Andrea.
So he wasn't representing the land trust? Or he is?
Not really.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. Okay, so are you suggesting that we all take a look at it if we can and you send it?
Yeah, because there may be another opportunity to comment,
Mhm.
yeah.
But it won't be May 31st.
I would, no, I don't think so, but it might be good to have the comments ready by then, just in case, because we really don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure, whatever happened this morning is already, probably old news.
Yeah,
Andrea's had a half a dozen discussions with all kinds of people, and it's a different story now.
okay.
Is that on the Kingston webpage?
It's on Kingston Forward, and it's also on the calendar. If you go to laws and rules, they have,
I
that's
thought you
right.
sent it to all of us.
I did, as soon as I got off the thing with
Yeah.
Ted.
It's on Engage
yesterday.
Kingston.
Yeah, it's on Engage Kingston, but I pulled it off of the laws and rules meeting, because there was a big discussion about the agenda for that meeting.
And that include the comments. All that documentation is also people's comments.
In the FGEIS, typically when they
Right.
when they do a final impact statement, they address all the comments.
Mhm. Right.
Sometimes they anonymize them, but I saw at least Rob Iannucci's name appear. Others may be on.
And that's
No,
where we missed the
not sure.
vote on that one, so. Okay, wow. Anything else on that?
That's a lot for the moment.
It is, I thought you were just like routinely sending us something out.
No. This was sort of a big deal. Oh, did you all do the minutes?
Yes,
Yeah,
no amendments.
We
No
found.
changes?
Oh, I got Helen and,
Okay, and you yeah, I'm sorry I was late.
no, that's
It's on the
okay.
weekend.
We waited for a while and then we thought.
Yeah,
oh,
I know, it was 6:07. So you can start at around like.
6:06.
6:06. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
too. 6:06.
Yeah, we gave them a few minutes.
Yeah, I can't make the MUCAC go faster than we go.
No, good for you. Okay, so let me see. So the next thing is engage Kingston's. Then, so that is the pedestrian bike master plan. Is there any news on that?
I don't have a story on that as an update. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, maybe we had it somewhere else about the bike shares. But that's sort of a separate thing.
That is not on the agenda.
Okay, then we won't discuss that. We're waiting
We
on.
can still,
Well,
we can still, that's fine.
Yeah, well, Rose Quinn would like to discuss it for sure.
so when I was at the,
We're waiting, that's what we're doing. You go right ahead.
oh no, I attended the public safety meeting and Rose Quinn was the speaker on safety. And she didn't have a presentation. And they were gonna try to, and that's when I just decided to get off, so I didn't hear it. But I didn't know that. She's also talking about the bike shares or scooter shares or.
Well, they added some enforcement provisions to it. And I think there were, we were at the climate meeting, I think in April, and Rose was there with Tanya Garment, and they had some concerns about the enforcement aspects of it.
Right.
Yeah. That's important, because.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
People leave them around or they go in the wrong direction.
Well, I mean, I hope that whatever company they choose to go with will put a speed limiter on
Mm.
whatever is
Oh.
chosen.
Yeah,
Because the places where they didn't have it, like Paris, they've now been banned completely because people were going 30 miles an hour down the sidewalk and like breaking people's ankles and shit. So,
The legislation has speed limits in it.
right. Last I checked, they were quite high. They were like 20 miles an hour, which is like, you do not want to be hit by a chunk of metal at 20 miles an hour.
I know, and I have a friend whose son was hurt that way badly.
Right.
And, you know, it was dark and you couldn't even hear the bike because it was
Right.
electric.
Yeah.
And, but also my pet peeve is that I have a gas powered scooter and I have to have a motorcycle license, pay insurance, pay for
Yeah.
registration,
Right.
you know, and it only goes 30, it barely can make 30 miles an hour.
Right.
So, anyway, but
Well, new technology gets a pass.
you know,
So should I be removing bike path master plan from the agenda?
Well, it's gonna come back, there will be a final plan, I just don't know, Emily Flynn hasn't kept the project advisory committee informed as to what's going on, so I don't have a story. I would think Barton and Judas are working on it, we made comments, that I did at the very end.
Right.
That might be in previous minutes, I'm not sure, my comment, I had two comments, one had to do with the Bluestone, keep the Bluestone in the historic districts, there's documentation for it. And the second one was the Wallkill Valley Rail Trail, which Barton and Judas did a study based upon research that I did with Tim Wiedemann and Jennifer Schwartzberg O'Donnell. And just keep it the off-road, make mention of the off-road approach. Basically, don't drop it out. They kind of just dropped it out. And, yeah,
You've seen the bikes on the rail trails?
Well, there is a chance that we could do the off-road Walco Valley Railroad at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had worked on that for the Kingston Land Trust, but one of the owners was a little difficult, wasn't ready, just wasn't ready to, amenable, but not ready. So, you know, and the other owner, they were ready. And now we don't know if they're ready anymore, maybe done with rail trails. So we'll just have to see how that plays out, but it would be good to get it off of 32. And it would use something resembling the original railroad.
But isn't that part of the Empire State Trail anyway?
On 32 it is, on the roadway.
Okay.
Yeah, not this off-road thing that we were working on, yeah.
Right, but,
We couldn't, there was no way we could get that organized in time. I really
Yeah.
gave it an effort, so that Bob Annenberg at Open Space Institute
Mhm.
was the owner. I could have purchased the rail trail to nowhere. That would have been a wise use of the land trust funds.
Mhm.
Bob Annenberg was walking away from that. It's like, don't come for me for a grant for that. So that didn't look too promising. And then the other one is Lawton Park. And Paul Manza is the owner, one of the principal owners. There's several owners, and he's just not ready yet.
Okay, good.
He may be ready one day, or he may just sell it. I hear rumors of him sometimes going into contract, and it never seems to close, and I don't know what's involved. But he is amenable if he were to do it, and he does want to do something in the affordable housing realm. So, yeah, so what he would do, what his plan was, just to have a section clustered of affordable housing. And then we've had it in Lawton Park. Restore the rest of it as the old Lawton Park, complete with the rail trail, which was never there to begin with. That was the railroad. Right.
So Lawton Park is over by South Washington, basically. And it was a city park that was abandoned, it was whatever, I don't even say any words, but that's the vicinity. So that's where Wallkill Valley Rail Trail.
Good end, could come to.
Yeah, because right now is, you go through Green Kill and the Boulevard to get down to where it goes off of.
That'd be great.
I would just bring up two other city
Yes.
plans, and this one is the bike ped master plan, just for folks to keep an eye on. Kingston Point Park improvements phase 2. So, I went out to bid for the design and engineering for Kingston Point Park phase 2. Phase 2 is elevating part of the parking lot or relocating part of the parking lot south of Delaware and then turning the other half into an actual wetland. And so the bids are due in June, and I'm gonna have a group of folks reviewing those bids, if anyone's interested in reviewing them and help select an engineer for that process. So that's just a project to keep up on. And then the other is Kingston Organics. Kingston Organics, and both of these you can find on Engage Kingston. Kingston Organics is our first phase of the organic food waste, not organic, but.
Can you
Scratch
stop for a minute so I can
Yep.
talk to you about Kingston?
Oh, yeah.
What is the date of the bid being due?
June 7th.
Oh, and so when do you have to? Is it like 30 days or what's the review time? I'm just trying to figure out if I can.
We're gonna be reviewing them on like June 8th. Like immediately after, I plan on,
June 7th of Wednesday.
I plan on like the 8th, 9th, 10th, or 8th, 9th, Monday, the 12th.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that. Okay. But I'd be interested.
Okay, I'll send out a note.
Okay.
Are
All
you
right, so
doing that
that's
on
great.
Zoom, or is that where are you meeting here?
I would circulate the bid responses digitally to folks, and then we would, I don't know, I haven't decided yet.
Okay,
Do you have a rubric yet? Or-
I believe there's a rubric in the RFP, if not, then I don't have one yet.
That's cool. That's great. And that was, Department of State money, right?
Yes. So we have $750,000 to do that project, which a portion of it is for design.
Yeah, and that again is that when you go into Kingston Point Park on Boulevard Avenue, the parking lot to the right is almost completely flooded all the time. And so the idea is it's
Right,
just.
yeah.
So, all right, Kingston Organics.
So Kingston Organics, and you can find this all on the website. The registration launched last week. So this is for Kingston residents. Everyone should have also gotten a flyer in the mail. We did it every door direct mail, so every single person should have gotten one. They basically did a voluntary and free food scraps drop-off program at 11 parks and 8 municipal buildings. Registration is required because you will get a code which will unlock the actual containers so that it's not a welcoming contamination. And as of 5:45 today, I have 237 people registered,
That's
Great.
which is amazing.
And then do they have a recommendation about what container is best to use?
So whatever container you use at home is kind of on your own, but I will say that if you go onto the website, the actual plan is now on here, the organics plan. And in the appendix, I think it's appendix like E, there's a whole review of all different types of.
Oh, the bottom line is you're just dumping it into the thing and taking your container back.
No, I understand,
So
but you're
you
gonna
can-
accumulate it over several days.
Yeah,
What's
right.
the best one
Yep.
so that it's not too stinky?
Yeah, so on the website, you'll find the plan itself, and then you'll find the appendices, which has all the data.
Oh, great,
including
thank you,
reviews.
that's very
That's
useful.
great.
There's also registration forms here if people are not interested in doing it, if you wanna print it and walk it over to me or send it to me or mail it to me, you can, and there's, the form is in English and Spanish. But basically, you can also do that directly on the website. Just got rid of it. Don't know what to do. How do I get rid of it? Here we go. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the website, then you can, you register right here. You will also get a welcome packet that has tons of cool stuff in it, including your lock combination, stickers to put on your things, what to do, recycling information, organics, everything about how to do the process. There's gonna be trainings. And the registration is very, very simple, literally just asking, you have to sign in to Engage Kingston to do it. So if you don't want to sign in to Engage Kingston, you can print up the registration, but basically just asking name, phone number, email, how many people live in your house, and which site do you want to use. So you
So-
choose one of the sites.
That's
So they have a lock container. And that's the interesting thing is it's locked, so you can go anytime. It's 24 hours a day, so that's really
Oh,
cool.
That's great.
And,
So registration.
so is it gonna be is it gonna be like key to each person? No, I didn't think it was that fancy. So,
It's not that fancy.
because I was like, wow, that would be really
Yeah.
No.
amazing.
However, there are going to be 2 locks on it. One is going to be for the public and for the upper flap for
Yeah.
people to get in, and then the other is going to be for the actually getting to the totes for the laborers, so that nobody can actually move the containers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all the signage will be there, and so the collection itself starts in probably the last week in June, if not the beginning of July. And
So there's nothing like at Gallows, the closest would be the Roundout Community Center in the neighborhoods. And the community
downtown?
garden in the neighborhood, yeah, for downtown.
downtown, there's Block,
Oh, Block, right.
there's Kingston Point, Roundup Community
Yeah.
Gardens, and Roundup Neighborhood Center.
That's great.
And then Uptown, Midtown, Roosevelt Park. And then we'll also, phase 1 of, this is all phase 1, it also includes 8 municipal buildings. So the 3 community centers, the 3 fire stations, this building, and the police station.
But that's for,
That's for
People that
municipal
work there.
employees, but also if we were to have snacks here and have food waste, then we would be composting at our meetings as well.
It's great.
I'm gonna guess the Hasbrook Park Road is right at the entrance off of Delaware Avenue. by the parking lot? Or the stone house?
Yes, it will be by the stone building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I just wanted to bring it up here, so if, again, every resident of Kingston should have gotten one of these, but if you're talking to people or if people have questions, I'm the contact for it all. Anyone could call me, email me, whatever they want to do. There's no limit to how many people can register. And we're gonna be continuing to do this as long as people want us to.
And the cool thing is they're taking all food, including meat and bones. So which usually you don't put in your own backyard stuff, so that's a really big one. And so the only thing, yeah, and yeah, it's really cool.
So I just want to keep you all posted on that, as a city thing, it's on the website.
And she explained like why you can't put in compostable plastic, the forks and stuff. Anyway,
Not-
because Upper doesn't want them basically, but so
What about
but
like
it's just food, so it's not, there's all this new stuff coming out.
Like
that
the
says-
bamboo stuff.
Nothing, we're not accepting
Yeah.
anything, nothing is not food. So my whole dog and pony show is on the website if you want to watch it. And by Monday, the Spanish interpreter, because it was live interpreted in Spanish, they have a separate recording, she has to get that to me, so. The presentation is there and also the actual video is there on the website. It's an hour long.
Where's it gonna be at Forsyth?
Right now, and all this, the thing about this is we're not cementing these things to the ground, so I could move them at any time. Right now, the plan is to put it, because they have to be somewhere that a packer could get in, like a garbage truck can get in and out. So right now, there's this, when you go into Forsyth from Lucas Avenue, if you take a right, there's a solar bathroom, there's like a little green building, it's gonna be adjacent to those bathrooms. That park currently so far has far and beyond the largest response for choice,
Interesting.
like 50%.
Wow.
50%, 237 people. So,
Yeah, I think, and it took, they were saying is that they started this program 5 years ago, and there was so much change at the Hudson Valley Regional Council and everything else that it took a long time.
Rich Jaffo is the one who started this.
Right.
That's good, for those who don't know who that is. So, anyway, that's
So
Kingston.
anyway, and then we could comment on
Oh, yeah, you can comment on the
the
plan.
plan
It's very, very, very long.
but also the idea is that phase 2 would be some kind of pickup.
Phases 2 and 3 will be depending on how this works out, not sure in what order, commercial collection, which would be all restaurants that want to, and then residential collection curbside. So we would give you a small container and you would fill that and put it out to the side of the curb, so you don't have to take your stuff anywhere.
So I listened to the thing, but, so this is not for commercial right now at all?
Correct.
That's cool. All right, well, thanks for doing that. Yeah, you're gonna be really busy.
As opposed to.
Because
Yeah, you really don't have enough to do.
Well, it used to be, she was just like, oh, summer camp is starting, and. So you're like, don't do anything in the summer, because the summer camp, and now it's
Right.
like, food waste.
Yep.
And then the consolidated funding application is just announced, right?
Yes.
So.
So I will be coming back next month with requests for letters of support, depending on what you choose to do. So every year, the city applies for consolidated funding application grants in the summer. They're due July 28th, but any letters of support, I will come back next month with that.
Oh, why did I think I saw one that had that?
There is a letter of support for a city tree grant under.
Oh, I
business.
printed the wrong one. Better look at that. Yeah, because I saw it, but then, okay. So the Pace University Resilience Assessment, Kevin and I are working on that, and the comments are due. Our next step is due
June 2nd,
June
June
2nd.
2nd, right? So that's next week.
yes.
June 2nd. And the idea could be that there would be a decision to put in money to get a full LWRP, local waterfront revitalization program, since ours is so old, and to get some funding through the consolidated funding. But that doesn't have to happen this year. Anything on New York, New Jersey hats?
Yeah, I was wondering if you all would want me to reach out to Pat Ryan on the funding that we had referenced in the letter.
Does he
For
have
funding for
anything?
local initiatives. Yeah, they could include that when they go, when the Army Corps goes for funding to continue the project.
Wow.
Now, there could be a change in the Congress, we don't know, and
Mhm,
the whole thing dies, So that's already happened once.
right.
But assuming that the project were to continue, I can reach out to Jen Benson and see what, because she was the one that had that idea
Mhm.
that I incorporated in the CAC comments. I'm just wondering if we want to, do you want me to go back to Jen and ask her?
I think,
Contact
I have no
him,
problem with that.
and Pat's
So what
office?
you're saying is that if they have to get funding through Congress,
Right,
Pat Ryan could put something in.
yeah, he could make a recommendation.
So,
his
yeah.
office can do that.
what happened with that other, some other thing that was gonna come and maybe have to give New York and New Jersey some money? Do you remember that? It was, I don't remember, it was federal, and we put in a letter of recommendation or a letter.
We'll have to go into the archives.
Yeah, but nothing ever came of that. So, all right,
So, sort of as an action item, I'll
okay.
do
that's fine.
something with Pat's office, if I can find Tim. Assuming he's started work there already, I think he has.
Okay, pollinator gardens, earth bear tabling. So we kind of had an informal discussion about this before we opened the meeting, but, so you guys can give a little report. So, well, actually, let me just say that Helen sent us a report. So Kevin could just put that in the minutes.
Okay. Okay.
And they had two handouts.
We had the CAC flyer to try to get more members. And we also had like a pollinator info sheet.
Yeah, it was about using native plants for
Yeah.
pollinator.
That was very popular. A lot of people took those, yeah.
Got rid of about 30 copies.
Right.
today.
Yeah. But you could tell that they weren't just gonna end up in a bin, they were like, oh, really, okay, I wanna know about this.
And
It's
it,
great.
and it had 5 or 6 online resources.
Right, yeah.
It was a copy of something from the Nature Center I
Right.
am involved with in Pennsylvania.
Nice, yeah, great.
So
They
from
have
a
some-
fair perspective, do you have any feedback for next year?
Perhaps warn people that they might want to bring a canopy.
Oh, what?
A canopy.
Oh, yes.
So we were the only people.
For
that
us,
have it, Cause
yeah.
I've never done this before, so I was like, okay, we'll bring a table, and then we were in like the sunniest spot in the whole place.
Yes, no, I'm so glad that your husband went out and got you.
Yes, dinner saved the day. But yeah, I would say it would be great just to be very clear about that what you get is a patch of ground and that's it. So you may want to think about bringing a table and chairs and some sort of sunshade. That's one line of thing, I just think it might be.
And I think that because I think it worked well because people parked and walked down and entered the Maritime Museum yard. So I think there was enough traffic, right?
Yeah.
Because like maybe the
That
people that came down from Broadway, maybe they didn't make their way over there. And the only other thing to do that is to like have food at that end, like not outside the gate,
Sure.
but kind of inside, because there was some kind of, I don't know, I don't think it was food, there was a.
There was some live music near us.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, one other piece of feedback. It was hard to find somebody, I know I very fortunately bumped into you, but we had no idea where our booth was. And that's, that's what, like a quarter of a mile stretch, and I needed to unload the car and stuff. So if they were allocated beforehand, which it sounds like they were, it would have been great to have got a map with, UR number.
Right, you should have gotten an email that said which entrance you should have gone in, which site you were on, that should have come from Ellie Gardenstein.
I did not see, I checked. I'll have a
Did you
look.
go to Brianna?
Because I'm the one who
Yeah.
registered.
I mean, I ended up, once I got there, I ended up asking like one of the like workers.
It was hard to find it when it just so happened the time that I arrived, there was like, you pointed me
Okay,
down towards the Maritime Museum, but then.
okay, yeah, you definitely should have
So-
gotten an email that had all that very, very, very
Ah.
clearly laid out.
Leellie,
It would have come from Ariel Gardenstein.
Ariel, excuse me.
I've done a number of this kind of things, and I'd say it was well worth our time to have people there.
Oh, definitely.
Because we were constantly giving out seeds and plants, and people were going, oh, hey, Mom, come look at the bees,
That's great.
that kind of thing. So.
I got an email from her because I was the one who registered on the 31st of March and then nothing. So I did not get a follow-up.
Okay.
And admittedly, I should have pinged her and said, hey, what's going on? But I had literally just come home from a business trip the night before, so I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. But yeah, to Anissa's point, it really was worthwhile. I was pleasantly surprised how engaged people were. So let's do it again.
Thank
I
you.
wound up staying all day, I wasn't going to.
Yes.
That's great. Okay, great, and then I think we should think about how more we can just promote that native plants and.
I agree. It seems that there's a real appetite for
Mhm.
that information.
So should I keep pollinator
Yeah.
as a business, old business?
Mhm. And, yes, anyway, I thank you guys all for doing that, throwing it together and
It's a
providing
lot of
the,
fun.
Yeah.
providing the plants and the seeds and so on. Okay, open issue discussion. I don't have anything now. This is kind of just like, is there anything you're seeing that you want to take on? Anything like that? Is there anything? Oh, yes, except for, we haven't talked about membership. That's so, the follow-up to the
Oh, yes.
So this
we should put that in
was-
the minutes, yeah.
we got about 6 or 7 names of people that follow up,
1, 2, 3,
so
4, 5,
follow up
6,
with
7.
them to
I'm
see
gonna follow
if
up.
they're interested.
And also a lady from the DEP who works in Kingston but lives in Rosendale.
Right, I caught that.
Right, you got that. She's gonna put notices up in the Kingston office, so maybe we'll get some outreach.
When you're reaching out to them, if you would just suggest that if they're interested, they can reach out to me, so I
Yes.
can have a discussion about like CAC, what CAC does versus
Yes.
Finance Smart.
It's DEP, not DEC, right?
DEP, sorry.
It was
Okay, so the City of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Um, yeah, thank you, yeah, so, and is there has anyone else had made any effort or had any ideas about more numbers? No.
Sorry. I always ask.
And I'm gonna guess that, our quorum is based upon it's based upon 5 members, or if, how do I phrase it?
Yes.
5 members or more if we have more.
Yes, so I guess we should talk about that. So the Corporation Council sent us a letter. I asked for an interpretation. So she was saying that if we have 5 members, then, no, I'm not going to be able to do this right. So if we have 5 members, it's an odd number. So wait, so how did she do this? So she added 1.
I thought it was just a straight percentage.
It's half plus one.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
Half
half
plus
plus
one,
one.
yeah, yeah.
of those appointed.
So
That's what
half
she's
plus
saying.
1, so that's,
So we have 6 members, so it's 3 plus 1.
oh, it's 6,
And
okay.
That differs from
6
Climate
plus 1.
Smart. But Climate Smart has a fixed number of members,
Right.
and we have a floating number of members, 5 up to 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But that's-
6 plus 1,
That's what's
so
weird
the
about this
4,
board.
we need 4 per form.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, if you want to put that in the minutes, you should have the email. from-
Yeah, I do, I think I do, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I do have that.
And the important thing is for quorum, for in person.
In person.
Anyone above that would need to can be remote, but they have to have their address. But
Yeah, and that has to be done a week ahead of time, if I recall.
Really?
Yeah, it's like no last minute, oh, I can't be there. But we have Zoom. We do get that sometimes, some meetings.
Can we do the opposite?
shows,
Oh, we think we might be away a week ahead of time, and then if we're
oh,
not,
yeah, absolutely.
oh,
Except that somebody remotely wouldn't know that and they might go to that address, in theory.
right,
They could go to that address.
that'd be okay. I'll put a note on the door.
Well,
I actually made it to the meeting.
no, there's a rumor that actually happened once in the town of Ulster. They had somebody in Florida, I think, somebody had told me this story, that they went to the house.
In Florida.
Yeah, where the board member was, where they live. Showed up.
Yeah, that's the point of it, right?
Well, they knew the person, it
Yeah,
wasn't they
right,
came out
right.
of nowhere. It was
I
like,
know.
oh, it's having a town board
Well, it's like
meeting,
going to
planning board meeting, I don't remember what meeting, ZBA, whatever it was, just showed up. Ask Supervisor Quigley to confirm that for you, though. That might just be an urban legend.
Right, it could be. Speaking of which, I never followed up on whether or not how the meeting at the town of Ulster, board meeting, town meeting, went with trying to get a CAC there, trying to get a CAC. But I never heard, that was,
I
That was
missed
May 4th.
Laura's meeting. Laura had a meeting, Laura Hartman, the
mhm,
Ulster
Right.
citizen. She had a meeting, I think, last week, but I didn't attend.
yeah, anyway,
It's what I've been told, it doesn't seem to be, the town board doesn't seem to be
Yeah.
terribly interested in it.
but they're gonna keep trying.
Yeah, they'll keep trying,
Okay, so CAC rules and procedures review.
So
Oh, we
in
do.
2009, the CAC was created, November 2008. And as of 2011, internally, these rules and procedures were adopted by CAC. These are not codified, They are adopted internally to be the general operation of how the CAC operates. It hasn't been revisited since then. Generally, I haven't looked at it recently, so I would say, I'm not sure we need to wordsmith it right now, but perhaps for a future meeting, folks can take a look at it. We can look at, inconsistencies or anything we want to suggest or changes. It wouldn't hurt for each new commission, well, everyone to agree to it, but also that just like as the council changes for it to be reevaluated every periodically. It doesn't need to go through the common council, it doesn't need to go through the mayor, it's literally just an agreement of this council.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, like even the meeting time and places,
Yeah,
it's way too specific.
Yeah, it's way too specific.
It's not, also it's not publicly posted anywhere, also you don't need to, but generally, it might not be bad just to have general rules of order.
Yeah, like the absence from 3 consecutive regular.
Yeah, we
meetings,
did do that
I think that's a
recently.
good one.
So,
So it's up to you whether you want to look at this now, or if you want to take it back and highlight things that are weird, or make
Yeah,
suggestions,
There
or,
are a few things that we don't
yeah.
necessarily follow.
yeah, and one of the things about the agenda is you can tell me and Julie if you want anything specifically on the agenda, because actually, Julie and I talk, and Julie writes the agenda, but if you guys, have something to talk about. Well, if you want a reminder, I can send you a reminder. Wow, we even had the order of business.
That looks like, very close to what we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
it is.
That's exactly what we did.
there's not a lot of deviation when you actually think about it, but there are some things that are different. And then the question will just be, do we change them to what the way they are now, or do we follow by what this says if something is different?
I don't think the mayor designates the chairperson on number 11.
So the other thing that
Oh,
we
we
need
had
to
a
happen
discussion about that.
would be a cross-check of this and the actual legislation.
Yeah, right, yeah, sure, the consistency again, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think we have.
And we do 12. This whole thing with filing council vacancies seemed pretty complicated.
Yeah, I guess it's September I don't know. Sure, why, maybe our legislation is dated September or something.
Yeah, so right now we're saying if we invite someone to be on the board, on the council, they might not be able to start till January, but they could come informal. That's what this says.
That's what this is, but the current practice by this mayor's office is
To just-
immediate appointment, effective immediate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's, do you guys want to set a deadline to make any changes on this, or? Like by September or something?
yeah, right, because we have that September date, right, yeah, okay.
I'll circulate the Word version.
Yeah,
Do you want me to put it on
Thank you.
next month's agenda, or should I?
sure.
Sure.
Um. And then. Okay, so, where should we talk about meeting times between that for the summer? You want to do that under announcement and events? So letter of support for the city tree grant.
So the city is looking to apply for a USDA grant, which is due on June 1st, with the hopes of using a 5-year funding to hire a municipal urban forester. We're seeking letters of support. This person would help prioritize our public trees, offer guidance on planting and maintenance, review streetscape and transportation plans, work with the tree commission, live well and CAC to further our tree goals, including edible forests, planting more trees, making the city more walkable, healthy stormwater management, heat islands. And the grant writers are looking for a letter of support from the CAC. It is through the USDA Forest Service Urban and Community Forestry. It is Inflation Reduction Act funding. And so they also sought a letter of support from Live Well, Kingston, who did provide one. I can let you know what theirs says, and then you can decide if you want to write one. Basically, it says, to whom it may concern, on behalf of Live Well Kingston, we offer a letter of support for this grant. Live Well Kingston, and then fill in the blank, talked about what Live Well Kingston does. Live Well especially supports this grant application in general, urban forestry for many reasons. Additional trees and greenery improve mental health. Studies have shown that just looking at greenery lowers stress hormones, and the more enveloped in nature, the larger the benefit. Urban trees lower temperatures in high density areas where air conditioning is expensive. Street trees encourage walking, et cetera, et cetera. The city could benefit from this grant. The hiring of this forester will increase capacity they can build upon previous projects. The Health and Wellness Department partnered with the Sustainability Office to host an intern this spring that updated the digital tree inventory. A paid position would make this work sustainable and take the next step to replace remove trees and plant new ones.
Is this full time?
Yes,
Wow.
for 5 years.
And so do you think it's,
5 years, okay.
do we have a good chance of getting
I personally don't like applying for federal grants. I think they are a lot of work for something that's highly competitive. When we have a much higher chance, in my opinion, applying for things locally, like through the state, which we have an incredible success rate at.
it?
However, you gotta be in it to win it. And so somebody's gotta win. So why not
Would
try?
you like me to edit a letter together?
That would be
Take it
fantastic.
down.
That would be great because it's due on June 1st, right?
They are submitting it on the 30th. So
Of May?
of May.
Well, that's Tuesday.
It's due on the 1st. They're submitting it the day before it's due.
Are
I'll
you
do it
taking May
tomorrow.
or June?
It's due on June 1st.
Well, there is 31 days. That's.
Okay, great. They're submitting it, but they're submitting it on the 30th.
I know, but today's Thursday, Monday's a
File.
holiday, so I'm just,
I'll just.
so how do we,
So if you would
Normally
like
we
to
have
submit a
to-
letter, if you would like to, if this council would like to submit a letter of support, you just have to vote to submit a letter of support
and
on
then.
behalf of the CAC, and basically we'll help them to do it.
Yeah,
and
is
then
that what you trust
And
me?
you have time to write it even
I'll
though
do
your
it tomorrow.
sister's here.
Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. It's important.
So
Okay.
all of like who it's supposed to be written to and all of that, you can copy that out of their letter.
Yes,
Okay.
and I will substantially
Yeah,
use their wording. I don't see any,
That's
I
great.
don't need to rewrite,
Right.
that's great.
but
Yeah, and in what I sent you, it also has what I read, which is in the narrative, if you go down an email.
great.
So that it has their letter and then the narrative that I wrote.
Okay, lovely, thank you so much.
All right, so then do you want me to sign it?
You would need to sign it.
Huh?
You would need to sign it.
Okay, so you guys want to just, yeah, so, and who's it going to?
It says it in the letter.
Okay.
It's like USDA Forest Service or.
Oh, I know, but don't we just send it to the grant writer?
You can send it directly to Natalie or Kyla, or you can send it to me and I will send it to them.
Yeah, but we're not sending it to
You're not sending it to the
Natalie.
tour. You're sending it to
I
Natalie.
just need to know who to send it.
Yeah, Natalie Kickle or Kyla do that.
All right.
And Kyla do
Okay, so can we just have permission, let's have a motion to let Helen and I figure this out. Okay. All right, and does anyone else want to look at it? Are you okay?
I'm happy to share it with you, we just need to turn it around. But I will do it tomorrow.
So in other words, if we don't turn it around tomorrow, we have to do it on Tuesday because Monday's on holiday.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really exciting. And is the tree commission sending a letter, don't they, or they're not meeting to?
It was not mentioned in that last meeting.
And this, I was thinking the same thing with Climate Smart, because Climate Smart could also,
As far as meeting on the 31st.
I know, so.
Okay, I will inquire.
Is that too late for us to do that, Julie?
She said she wants to submit it before
By close of business on the 31st?
the, she wants to submit it on the 30th.
30th.
30th,
Yeah,
okay. When you send it out, can you include me on it? So I just want to,
yeah,
clean up the language and putting in draft minutes.
okay.
Make sure I get
All right, are there any
straight.
communications besides the letter of support?
No.
Any announcements? Let's see. Yeah, okay, so this is a situation where I am going to be here. We are not having a meeting in June. Because this is the last week of May, we are not meeting in June. We are going to meet in July. And I will not be here in August, so that I can attend remotely. But I guess I would got it. So what does,
So then you
So-
need 4 other people to be here.
so in July, we already had asked around, I believe, about whether or not any people would be here on July 11th.
Yeah.
I can do that.
So we're okay, right?
That seems like it.
Okay. And then in August,
Eight.
yeah, I'm not gonna be here, but so I just want to know if I attended remotely, whether or not, how many people are gonna be here on the 8th?
You should be here.
I should be here.
1, 2, 3, 4, okay.
So you need to designate someone to run a meeting.
Mhm. All right, so we'll stick with the 8th. And then let's move ahead to September. So- And hopefully we'll have some new people by then. So is that the 12th?
12, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Okay. Well, if we're okay with 4,
Check.
yeah, okay. And Ted's not here, so if we get one more person, we're still at 4, or does it go? So 7,
7, you need
So
half
still
plus
that.
1, still 4.
yeah, still 4. Okay. Okay, great. So in June, I can ask someone who wants to chair for July.
No, we're not meeting in
The
June.
other way,
July.
the other way around. I mean, one more.
Yes, yes.
August, okay. All right. So any reports?
Complete Streets have mostly been talking about traffic lights and bicycle safety. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't really feel like it directly impacts us, concerns us.
I guess the only thing about the bike safety is if people don't feel safe, they're not gonna ride bikes.
Right, yeah, fair enough. They do seem to be putting a bead on it. I don't know if any concrete decisions have been made or anything.
Yeah, and that came up at public safety.
Well, we've had this spate of accidents.
Mhm. Has anyone, no, okay, great. Anything from the planning board?
Well, they met already, usually they meet after the fact, so yeah, I think they had something with Highland Brickyard, and they renewed the special use permit. I think I had that in my notes for the meeting that would happen. I don't think there was too much else there that was going to concern us. Just run through quickly. Yeah, permit renewal for the regular. Can you run that, that's all Savannah, permit renewal for their outdoor tent thing. I know building safety had some kind of an issue with that at some point, but I don't think that concerns us. That's, yeah.
But there's no big, any kind of big new development
The
coming up.
only thing that could come up would be 2426 Hunter and 3335 West Union.
What are those?
That's come up, well, maybe, I don't have the agenda on it. I mean, I have the agenda rather, but I don't have
Details.
the application that they were doing.
There's a sign up on
Yeah.
the hole in the ground, which was supposed to be the Irish Cultural Center.
What does it say?
New home of something, and I was blanking, I just caught it
Interesting.
as I drove by.
Is that?
Wait, is that 25 for Beal?
Could be,
All right, let's look at the parcel here, because that's the same owner as West Union and Hunter Street.
Oh.
And they've they did a preliminary discussion at the landmarks some months ago, but then they had to go back to the planning board. So I hadn't heard from them again. I haven't seen the site plan unless the planning board is posted it on this.
These are all fairly small lots though, right?
The Irish Cultural Centre is
Yeah.
so visible.
it's a big hole, it's a lot.
Right.
It's been like that for over 80 years now.
Oh, God. I don't know. That's terrible. So while you're looking that up, what's going on with Golden Hill? Does anyone know? You did take the prison down, right? So they demolished the prison. Actually, I learned recently that if it's a local jail, it's jail, not prison.
That's right.
So,
Prison is state.
or federal.
Federal.
All right.
In Britain, it's all just prison.
So far, I haven't seen it on here.
Okay.
Oh, here, Union Hill Church, okay. They did an EAF updated. Well, they started this last year, then they've updated it. I think I'll have to go through this and see if we need to make comments for the next meeting or something. Now, you can check with Suzanne as to where it's at.
Okay, good.
Don't think it was coming back to the landmarks yet.
It's
but
good that you're on both.
Yeah, Elganian, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the owner.
What?
Elganian,
Is that a last name?
yeah.
It's the Armenian.
And he owns all three of
They
these
may be
properties?
Sephardic, I'm not sure.
Usually with the IAN.
Yeah.
So many.
All right, is there any more on that then? Or you'll just have those action items? Kevin?
Yeah, I'll follow up on this.
Public safety, so I reported and, and they didn't have any questions. I did mention that we're looking for more members. And I would like to remember to talk to them about the air quality report for the next meeting. And I didn't go in person, but I can go in person.
Yeah, I've been covering the complete streets via Zoom, I'm assuming that's okay.
Yeah.
You're not counting your quorum, so it doesn't.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I
It
would.
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. I know, especially because usually for public safety, I'm there for like 5 minutes, but I missed my entry, so I had to listen to the mental health
Yeah.
mobile, which was really cool anyways. They have mental health, we have a mental health unit now, it's a bus, a vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been diverting people from like having to go to the hospital, jail, I guess. So anyway, but I would like to talk, so if I went in person, I could print out the, the graph or something.
But if you go remotely, you can share your screen.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I could, you're right, and it probably would work better. So I would have to talk to police to make sure if you do. Okay, climate smart, Kevin?
Yes, and before we do climate smart, I just pulled up the parcel viewer. It's not the Irish site.
Okay.
It's across the street and there's 3 lots and maybe lots on the other side as well. Sure. Yes, there's lots on the other side as well. So, yeah, it's worth looking at, looking into recycling. Okay, so we'll do that. Moving on to climate smart, Europa McGovern from the county came and presented on the climate adaptation planning interactive map and toolkit, which was an interesting thing. We should probably find the link and send that out. There was a climate smart communities grant for a climate vulnerability assessment and adaptation plan. It refers back to climate communities pledge element number 7, which promotes enhancing community resiliency for climate change, including vulnerability and adaptation. So, yeah, she provided a handout and showed us the interactive map and the various mapping layers. It's an ArcGIS project, basically. And it's a new tool, and I think it can be really useful. I played around with it for a bit. The mapping layers include climate hazards for temperatures, sea level rise, FEMA flood layer, county assessments, including critical facilities, vulnerability, stream crossings, transportation infrastructure, and the Ulster County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan, which is presently being updated. Other layers are MS4, Central Hudson capacity. I don't know what I'm referring to.
Well,
Solar, for
Yeah.
solar interconnectedness.
Yeah, there's a typo there, okay. Ag districts, Ulster County facilities, national land cover database, social vulnerability. And,
but that,
Is this one accessible through climate smart Kingston?
It's on the
It's
county.
on the county.
It's on the county.
County, okay.
County.
but that's like the LWRP, the questions they were asking us. It was like, does your community have it? But the county So the people in the city just need to know how they can get to the county.
Right.
To get this kind of stuff, because for that.
Yeah, I can find the link. I didn't have that here for minutes, but yeah, there is a link to.
So is that done? I mean, they should be updating it. It should be like live all the time.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's updated like every couple hours.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing we did was we gave a letter of support to Accra for the Ulster County Tiffin project.
the what?
Tiffin project,
Oh, Tiffin,
yes, like the,
yes.
the Indian tally mail things, right, the stainless steel containers.
Yeah,
Right, so there was,
Louise will take it.
there was a fair amount of discussion about that, and some of the commissioners had concerns. And they thought that finding better ways to recycle should be considered as part of this, as well as figuring out a better system to have people bring their own containers. And addressing the need to influence businesses to use compostable takeout containers, which would be acceptable in municipal systems or backyard composting. So we did send, Julie sent the letter out, and that's with the caveats that I just mentioned, and, yeah.
Great.
I don't know what the status is of the Tiffin project, though. We'll find out soon, I guess.
So is this where they would be like,
Distributing them.
and then you're not supposed to take them home and keep them there forever, you're supposed to,
No, they would be giving them out to individuals
oh, and then.
To use for their own personal,
to use for
Oh, wow.
permanent personal use.
And that was done through the PPI, the Pollution Prevention Institute.
Well, that's cool.
That's great.
And it sounds to me, from what I've just heard a little bit about, is that these different kind of plastics that are, I mean, not plastics, but the compostable things are, it's kind of hard to figure out if they're
They're giving them out to
acceptable.
to use for their own personal.
What was that?
Back to the Future. I just went back in time. It was the live stream.
So the Ulster County EMC, I didn't go to it, Ted, and I'm trying to think what it was. It's next week, so I'm so confused because I'm not like, he would have gone at the end of April and reported on it. And then the next meeting is next week. And the Environmental Management Council meets on the last Wednesday, which is not always the fourth Wednesday, sometimes it's the fourth. So I was gonna try to attend, however, I think they went back to meeting at Sunny at the community college, because they were meeting right down there in Broadway at the the Justice.
Restorative Justice.
Yeah, restorative justice. So, and now I'm torn about the laws and rules meeting. They're on, obviously, May 3rd. Okay, and then tree commission.
We had a tree planting at,
The Rondo Neighborhood Center.
I walked to it.
Right.
The mayor attended, said some nice words, the kids were there. They said they each contributed stuff and they made a very nice poster. And there's a very nice tree now planted next to the center. With the thought that several more of its kind, there's room to put several more behind it, so it was nice.
One more for 1,000 goal.
Right.
999 to go.
And I believe the garden club paid for it from them.
Would we want to put some notes in there from the tree inventory update from May 9th?
Right.
Because we didn't have a full quorum, but several of us attended that.
Right.
And it's sort of a tree. Well, I think there were people from the tree commission too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and George Profis.
Yeah, I think you can just say the young man whose name I don't remember.
Sean Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah, made a presentation after the tree commission meeting,
Yeah.
whenever that date was, and
May 9th.
May 9th, and it was recorded. Can't remember.
And it's on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I have a
recorded
lot
and
of
it's on
notes.
YouTube, so that's good.
I have a lot of notes.
Yeah.
I don't want to put
You
us
don't have to-
all to
no.
sleep with, how many trees were, he surveyed and all that stuff. Okay, so the initial survey you recall was done with Arbor Pro. The goal of this project was to remove dead hazardous trees and replace with new, in addition to expanding the urban forest. So he gave us a bunch of numbers and GPS data, basically. Sean noted 3,228 street trees, 165 new trees planted, including basswoods, hackberries, and crabapples. 47 of the 58 priority 1 removals have been removed. And then I have some notes about GIS here, GIS layers. Yeah, but he updated the GIS layers to include new trees since
Right.
2018.
And then someone else can do that.
And he was writing a document to make the updating process easier going forward. And that's to be sent to Justin at engineering.
So we're getting closer to those 1,000 trees. And then, yeah, so if this USDA grant goes through, does it have any money for trees?
I don't know. Haven't been involved in writing it, so I don't know if they wrote that into it. But certainly that person's job would be to find additional funding.
Yeah, right. Cool.
In 5 years, that person could grow the trees.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at me on my black phone.
Okay, so anything else so we can adjourn so Helen can get to her. Thank you.
I move to adjourn.
All right. And second, all right, Linda, all in favor? All right, so we'll see you in July.
July 11th, yeah.
7:30.
Have a great early summer.